What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Loc'd. I got a very special guest with me today. This is going to be the subscriber live stream, season 1, episode 2, and I got Ryan in the queue. So I'm gonna bring him on, and we're gonna get going. All right. So what's up, Bryan? How you been?
Hello. I'll call you Dr. Goo.
Okay, that's fine.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I just got back from the dentist.
Hope it's nothing serious.
Always nothing serious, nothing serious. Just an annual. Had to switch my provider real quick. So yeah, man.
Um, I'm just very humbled that you have me here. I guess this is the first time for I don't know for what I know any YouTuber to bring on a actual fan base person or subscriber and just do a one-on-one. I hope I make it that we make it entertaining. That is worthwhile watching for about an hour or two. And again, I appreciate your channel and I watch all your videos where they come out. Usually I'm in bed by the time one of your videos rolls out. So I'm one of the first to comment on your videos. That's why
Yeah.
you see me as the first one there. But it's pretty good timing there. I think we're on the same time zone. You're in Pacific time zone. So by the time you get home, I think it's midnight. I'm already
Yeah.
still in bed trying to get to bed. But again, I'm excited to be on your channel, and um, great to meet you.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
and how's your mom? I remember your mom had some.
Some surgery on
Everything.
her foot. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, she's doing okay.
okay.
Actually, she she had surgery, and then she's in a brace now, and then she's going to physical therapy and stuff, trying to keep off of the leg, but she's walking around and everything. So yeah, man, she's doing all right. I guess as you get older, things start to break down. So
Yep.
if
Yep.
you're young, take care of your body now.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but
There,
yeah,
there's
man.
already there's already a lot of things being broken down on my body as well, but I'm just kind of putting off whatever I need to get checked. So hopefully nothing serious is wrong with my body, but I have a few ailments as well. But I understand that because I'm already in that age as well. Um, anyway, good to hear, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, no problem. So you're the Zerzov man, right? Or which house are you starting to get into as far as fragrances go, or which ones are you like?
Yeah. So as we talked earlier, I guess last year, sometime around end of summer, I wanted to kind of dive into one particular house, and I did some research over, a few weeks on a few brands, and Zerjoff being one of them. I've always been kind of intrigued by the brand.
Okay,
Uh, there's a few local malls around me that I can go to. One of them, which is a little bit far away. Whenever I visit my parents, I would go to that mall, and they have a Neiman Marcus there where they have a setup of a whole slew of brand names. And one of the
okay,
setups was Zerjoff because Zerjoff has a very pretty bottles. As you can tell, like I have so far right here. So
okay,
I can't see if it's in because my thumbnail is very small and I'm using my phone, so I can't see how I'm portraying things on the video. But
okay.
the bottles have always intrigued me. I went to go sniff a few, and unfortunately, I wasn't very impressed. I remember talking to you about that back then,
Yeah,
and I said, this is a house that I'll just pass on because there's nothing here. They're all pretty good smelling, but they kind of smelled a little safe to me because I guess, as you know, or just telling everybody that my preferences are kind of like darker and a little bit more challenging fragrances.
hmm.
So basically, whatever I wear, my wife does not like and she
Okay.
completely detests, that means that's something I like. And if it's
Hmm.
something that she likes, it's something I'm just, like I have a blue de Chanel. Whenever I wear that, she loves it, but it's something I will just wear just for a family function or something like that. It's nothing that I will wear because I like it. But I kind of felt that was the case with them, but I didn't know at the time that the displays that they were showing at that Neiman Marcus were basically all the top sellers, the ones that were popular or
Okay.
popular for everybody. So they had the Naxos, they had the Kobe and the Neo, and then the Pico de Via Damo, whatever you call it. They got the La Capital and so forth. And I snipped all of them. But they had an Alexandria too as well. But just kind of going through all the samples, or not samples, the bottles, I guess over time, just my nose got a little bit tired. And even though smelling Alexander 2 at the end, I didn't get phased because, I was just over bombarding myself with scents. But I realized they have a line called Oud Stars, which is a line which is a more challenging set of fragrances. And that's what I started to kind of get into and explore. So Zafar is one of them, and a whole bunch more.
So with Zafar, is that similar to Alexandria 2, or is it more like, how would you kind of, is the oud in that one a little bit more like barnyardish, or is it a little bit more challenging?
No,
what do you think of
so this is coming from my opinion, from my perspective. I don't find this challenging at all. It's something that I would wear to work, maybe.
Okay.
I actually, my scent of the day is Zafar right now. So since you put up Zafar as my thumbnail, so might as well make it my scent of the day. Oh, by the way, what's your scent of the day?
Oh, my scent of the day is Nishane's Sultan Vetiver.
Nice.
Yeah, I love that one, man.
Yeah, I always get nervous whenever you buy something that I kind of recommended. So, if you don't like it, I feel bad. But I don't think this were disappointed with any of my recommendations. Well, there's only two I recommended to you: this one and the
Ivory Root.
The Ivory Root. So I know Ivory Root is. Just be honest. I don't think that's something that's. If you had a chance again, you probably wouldn't go that route, I guess.
I mean, you know what? I like Ivory Root. I don't have a problem with it. I feel like, and I'm pretty sure you can agree with me with this, is you can Ivory Root is very safe. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like it's
right.
a very safe vanilla. And it almost reminds me of a little bit like Mercedes-Benz Club Black, in a sense, to where, how I don't know, have you ever smelled Mercedes-Benz Club Black?
No, I haven't. No.
Okay, so Mercedes-Benz Club Black is like a smoky vanilla. It's got like incense in there. It smells really great. If you love vanilla, it smells really awesome. It kind of smells a little bit similar to Vanilla Bean Noel from Bath and Body Works, which I mean, it's a beautiful scent for sure. But I will say that at the beginning of Ivory Root, when you first spray it on, it takes a completely different turn, and it changes. And I'm sure you know that, right? Like it's not linear at all, like Club Black is, and it kind of goes its own way. I really like the anise note in there. I think there's anise in there, right? Or star anise.
Sure. Yeah, I know that there's a lot of exotic spices in there, which I can't pinpoint. I know, like pepper being one of them at least. Anise, I wouldn't be surprised if that's one of the
notes listed. Give me 1 second. Let's see. I got some comments real quick. So Nebu said, "What's up, Dr. Goo and Bryan? I'm gonna see if he can chill here for at least an hour." Yeah. What's up, Nebu? If you're still watching.
Yeah. And I enjoyed your live stream.
Yeah, that last live stream, it was yeah, it was like a 2 hour and 6 minute show. That was like a full length Star Wars movie.
Yeah. In fact, I went back and I watched it a few more times. Not the whole thing, but bits and pieces here and there. So yeah.
Stacks, he says, "What it do?" That's the People's Champ, Bryan. If you've never checked out the Stacks reviews, he's really cool. He's a cool guy from Texas. And Robes 08. What's up, Robes 08? I know, man. I mean, we got.
I just thought this was going to be a intimate live stream between a couple of friends, but now Robes 08, I'm gonna probably be sweating now.
We got a OG
You
fragrance,
shouldn't have
one of
told me
the
that robes away. You should tell me these things after the live stream so I could just be myself.
man. I mean, Rose 08, you took a break for a long time, man. Glad to have you back. Glad to have you back. So, but yeah, we're on Alexandria's Ivory Root, and I mean, it's you know what that fragrance lasts so long. I mean, on clothes, it
Uh,
lasts forever. You
yeah.
know. So, do you ever have a problem with like when you spray a fragrance on, or if you're choosing to wear a fragrance? Um, do you try to avoid getting it on certain clothing items that you have so that you can wear a different fragrance with the same outfit maybe later on during the week, or how do you kind of go about with that?
So that's a good question. And my answer may be a little bit long-winded here. So just let me know when you want me to stop. But
Okay.
uh, so let me give you a little base. So whenever I go to work, usually I wear a sport coat
Hmm.
or suit. That's just kind of like my style. I work in a corporate environment, so a lot of places that I go to, and I do a lot of contract work. So right now I'm doing kind of a contract work for a hospital, and it's business casual, but I always like to wear a sport coat. So it's just for me, is I like to be, I guess, visually more presentable. Not that
Okay.
anybody else is not presentable. That's just how I am, and I like to be just kind of like not dressed to the nines, but just everything in place. I'm very well organized in how I try to present myself and how I do my work. I mean, the only issue is how I get along with other people. That's something I'm working on, but that's, I guess, everybody's work in progress characteristically. But in terms of work ethic and how I present myself, I always try to present my best every single day. Again, that's just me. That I'm just, it's uh, so when I go to work, I don't like to wear something that is what you call maybe a banger. So banger
Okay.
is a very projecting kind of more than an arm's length of projection. And that means like if you're doing 2 or 3 sprays, right? And I know some
Yeah.
people do like 5, 10 sprays, and that so the gauge is different because for me, I never do more than 2 or 3 sprays. I just never press more than that. I can't see myself pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not that kind of person. So even when I'm going out, let's say if I were to go to a club, nightclub, I never go to a nightclub, but let's say hypothetically, if I'm going there and I'm a younger person and I'm with a friend and we're trying to hook up or whatever like that. Again, I'm that's not me, okay? But I would never I wouldn't see myself doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's just that's just not my way of doing fragrances, and I know a lot of people do that,
Okay.
and everybody's different. So, and I embrace that, and I think that's really cool. But for 2 or 3 sprays, if the projection is more than arm's length, I kind of get a little bit self um, I guess a little bit nervous, I guess, around other people because I don't want to have my smell precede me when I go into a room or when I pass by other people or when I'm sitting in my cubicle. Usually, I'm in a cubicle, and people will walk
Okay.
by. They just like, "What does it smell?" I'm smelling something, and even if it's nice, and they're making a statement, because I remember one time I sprayed something that was a little too strong. A couple of people came out of a conference room, and the first thing they said was, "Well, who's baking apple pie?" Right? That's awesome. Well, where's this apple pie? And I sprayed watch on that day, and I
Yeah.
only sprayed 3 sprays, and it was like underneath my shirt. And I guess it was, but my cubicle was near that conference room. The first thing they said was, who brought apple pie? This is awesome, and that made me kind of like sink into my cubicle, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to show myself because. So for me, projection and longevity. I guess longevity is something that I focus on more rather than projection because if a fragrance is projecting like in my little bubble, which is like a foot away or 2 feet away, that's
Hmm.
that's ideal for me because to be honest, I'm really spraying it for my enjoyment that day, kind of,
Okay.
and also for I guess it adds a little bit of a coziness because usually I spray it on the back of my on my head or underneath my shirt, because if I spray anything near my face, I quickly get as now an
Nosmic.
insect, or I get scent blind.
Yeah, nose
So I
blind.
spray it on the back of my head, and then that will kind of give me this aura, I guess, this kind of a bubble feeling, and I can detect the fragrance, and it feels like I'm wearing a nice cozy jacket wherever I'm at. So that's probably the main reason why I wear fragrance.
Okay.
So I don't care too much about projection. But again, let's say I buy something that does not project at all, and I
Hmm.
have a fragrance like that, which I'm kind of disappointed in, which is I have a Clive Christian, and I
Okay.
think I was on Rove's '08 live stream one time. This was just recently, a couple days ago. I said I was wearing I'm not. I was wearing Clive Christian V, which is the newer one. I know they had an older version, and then they recently came out with Clive Christian V, and it says something about amber fougere. It says a smoky vetiver on it. So that's the newer V version of Clive Christian. I got that recently, and whenever I spray it, I cannot smell it. I have to
Hmm.
actually go to my, and even when I do this, I don't really get a sense of what's there. I just kind of smell my skin and a little bit of I guess there's amber there, but it's very hard for me to detect anything coming from it. And I mean, if it was a $20 bottle of juice, I would still be disappointed. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's a Clyde Christian, and
It's probably 300 something.
so the value there is the experience of telling other people don't buy it.
Yeah. We got the Robes '08. He says he loves your hat.
Oh yeah, thank you. I usually wear a hat when I'm casually up and about. Like if I'm with my wife, we're at the mall or we're at a family function, and it's a casual situation. Um, I usually wear a fedora. So I have just like fragrances. I have a lot of hats. I stopped collecting them, but I have about maybe 30 hats, 30 fedoras,
Oh, well.
and this is a beaver hat actually. So it's one of my better hats, and I don't usually wear a sport coat with a hat because I think it looks affected. But for this live stream, I wanted to wear a hat just to kind of show my personality, but also wear a jacket because it's a little bit cold in this room.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't put the two together because wearing a sport coat or a suit with a hat is not a good look, I think. But
Okay,
anyway, I
so
appreciate it.
what's the so just off topic just a little bit because I'm curious. So what is a beaver hat? Is it made out of actual beaver, or is it the way the brim is kind
Right.
of
So
folded?
beaver is so there are I think 3 or 4 different types of materials that they use to make fedoras. I don't know about other hats, but I know for fedoras, the American fedora is either made with cotton, which is the cheapest kind, which is not a hat at all. It's just some kind of a material that's on your head, and they use a machine to press it and make it look like a hat. And that's what you see sometimes out up and about. People have some kind of a cotton hat, and then there's the next level up, which is a wool hat. So the
Okay.
wool is actual wool, but then again they use a machine to kind of form and mold a hat look so you could have some sort of a shape to it. But wool is not really a good material. Not only it's not very comfortable, it doesn't hold a natural looking shape. It
Okay.
looks really artificial because the way they press it and mold it, it shows
Hmm.
the mechanisms mold, right? And then
Okay.
the next one up is called felt. So there's fur felt, and I don't know what felt is from. I'm thinking it's from some kind of animal
Hmm.
sheddings, and then they also kind of make that into some sort of a wool felt kind of a thing, and then they make a hat of it. And those are usually in the hat community. Fur felt is probably 90% of the hats that you find in that community, right?
Okay.
So that's the accepted um, material. But if you
Hmm.
go next level up, is beaver, and I
Okay.
don't know other felts, and it's real beaver. Yeah, it's a real beaver fur that they get. I don't know how they do it. Um, probably like when they have sheep and then they shear it to get wool. So I don't know all the details there, but the beaver is very, in terms of visuals, it doesn't look different, that much different from a fur felt hat. But if you
Okay.
go to the store and you feel a beaver hat and you feel a fur felt hat, there's a huge difference. You're like, this beaver hat, I want to get this. This is awesome. It feels like luxury, And then the
Okay.
fur felt is like, oh, I thought this was a good looking hat and a comfortable hat, but when I looked at this beaver, and now I'm down a different rabbit hole, kind of a thing. So,
That's all good, man.
yeah,
Rose OA, he said this is some great hat information. So you're really into hats too. Robes 08, he also, when we were talking about Ojuan, which I'm going to bounce back to in a second, he said people love that pie. It really does smell like a cinnamon apple pie, doesn't
right,
it?
right. Yeah, it really does. But unfortunately, so I go through waves of exploring fragrances, right? So I'm not always like, let's say Robes 08, his main purpose in terms of like, his channel and so forth is to continually explore fragrances on a daily basis, 24/7. And that's his responsibility. But for me, I love fragrances, but there are times when the interest kind of wanes, and it could be long. It could be for a couple of years where I don't even buy fragrances at all. And
Oh,
I still spray fragrances, but I'm not buying anything. A lot of it, just half of it is due to maybe a financial situation. Like during COVID time, I didn't buy anything. So for a year and a half, we just sat at home and worked from home and didn't even purchase anything. So or it just might be I just didn't find myself interested in it because I have like other interests like hats and stuff like that. So I might be kind of paying my attention to that kind of a thing, and then I will kind of do a full circle back to fragrances again. So that's why I went back to Xerjoff for the past few months. But when I was into Parfum de Marly, this was like maybe 2018. I was so into Parfum de Marly. I thought that was like the greatest thing. And
yeah.
unfortunately, my tastes have changed. It's um, yeah, I smell Wajon. I have Wajon. I have Harrod. So Harrod's my first purchase out of Parfums de Marly that kind of made swirly eyes in me. So when I smelled it, I was like, oh, I've
Yeah.
never smelled something like this before. This is amazing. So I had to get Wajon next because I was going through all the YouTube channels, and Robes Away was one of them. And how am I not going to get Wajon if I'm exploring Parfum de Marly? So I got that, and that was completely amazing. But for some reason, I thought that it kind of reminded me of Tom Ford Noir Extreme. So
Okay.
I know you remember smelling that, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of similarities there. For some reason, to me, they smell very similar. And then when I go to
Yeah.
Fragrantica, nobody mentions that.
The funny thing is, I almost feel like Parfums de Marly is, and I think I've said this before. I think I was talking to David, one of my subscribers, and I said it's kind of like a glorified clone house, right?
Yeah.
Just like Tizarani Terenzi or Tizzy T, just TT, that's what I call it.
Yeah.
They like to kind of clone other niche houses and kind of make their own thing out of it, but then sell the fragrance at an outrageous price.
Right.
Um, yeah. So out of all of the Parfums de Marlys that you own, which one would you say is your favorite?
So out of all my parfum, again, I'm not really into Parfums de Marly anymore. I mean, they
Okay.
are kind of collecting dust a little bit in my collection. Every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while, I'll bring out a Harrod just to kind of spray it again and remind myself of how I, used to be, or a Wajon, just to kind of appreciate it. But I don't really wear those anymore. But
Okay.
my favorite one out of all of them would be actually, this is a good question because I always talk to you about this. Is Nissian or Nission.
Yeah.
Uh,
Nissan or Nissan or whatever.
yeah, as it reminds me of Nissan, the
Yeah.
car
The
manufacturer.
car.
So yeah, so let's call it Nissan. So um, yeah, Nissian is part of the Wajon collection, right? There's Habdani, there's Habdani and Habdan, Hamdani and Habdan, and
Yeah.
there's Wajon. Am I shaking the table because I have my phone on my table, and if I'm like moving my arms, gestures, it shakes my camera. So sorry about that. I'll try
No,
to.
no, it's all good.
So Nicean. So this is like so last no no like 2021 or 2021 or a year ago I was responsible for doing a lot of training at work. So there was a
Okay.
lot of kind of technology training that I was doing for several people, either on a live, not a live stream, but like on a Teams chat, kind of a video conference, or in an actual room where people will come in and there's like 6 or 7 people there.
Okay.
I would kind of present on a screen and so forth, or not screen, but off of my laptop. So I wanted to buy something that was very mature. So that's when I kind of got Polo Green at the time. That's how I kind of got into your channel, because when I got Polo Green, I was researching. I remember Green being something like this at Macy's. I see it at Macy's all the time. I just kind of passed by it, but I remember just from my recollections, this is supposed to be this kind of a thing. So I looked at a lot of videos and then I bought it. And then your video popped up in my feed, and I watched it. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. He likes Polo Green, but you're a young guy, so I kind of, it was a little, and you have dreadlocks and so forth. So to me, you're kind of a different demographic. That's what I thought. So how is this guy liking Polo Green? Because Polo Green is a very mature, leaning fragrance. It's not something that
Yes.
a young person will wear to go to the club. I always bring that imagery up because that's for the sake of argument, is the best imagery, right? So who would
Yeah.
wear Polo Green? So that's kind of what I see you as. But then as time goes on, I found out through your channel and watching all your videos that your characteristic is actually kind of more older spirited, right? You're kind of a more mature person anyway. You just look young, but you have a mindset and perspectives and fragrance tastes that are very mature leaning. So
Hmm.
that was kind of what interested me in your channel. And this is kind of going off into a different topic here, but um, based off of that, I watched your Amouage Journeyman video, or you were talking
Yeah.
about Amouage, and I
Yeah.
had interlude and so forth. Yeah, I went through a phase where I went through a lot of Amouages, but I never got Journeyman, because Journeyman is not really something that is kind of hyped, or I guess hyped is not the right word.
It's not
Not
really
talked
talked
about,
about a lot.
not talked about in a very highly positive way, right? Like Interlude Man is, right? I mean, Interlude Man was so hyped up. I'm not, again, hyped up is a word I'm not very articulate here, but talked about in such a high regard that I had to get it. I mean, how do I go about life doing like if I'm mountain climbing and then just telling myself, no, I'm not gonna go check out Mount Whitney, or in America. You're gonna
Hmm.
have to do something one day, either fail or succeed. Try to do Mount Whitney or whatever the greatest mountain is near your locale, or Mount Everest. When your life's over, you're just gonna regret, why didn't I try it out, right? So at the time, Amouage Interlude Man was I looked it up. It was like $175. It was kind of a hefty purchase at that time.
Yeah.
And I know my wife is watching, going to probably be watching later. Um, it is still a hefty purchase for anything for $175. Okay,
Yeah.
I do go about making a sensible judgment call with what I buy. I just don't go willy nilly buying stuff. Okay, so let me just put that disclaimer out there. So Amouage Journeyman, if I'm going to spend that much, I want to see some good reviews about it. And there weren't.
Hmm.
So never bought it, but I kind of found out that your tastes are in line with me. You really
Hmm.
recommended Journeyman. What really kind of got me was when you said this was you said it was what did you say? You
I
compared it
think
to
I think
Marvel
it,
Man
it
or Man, Iron Man. Yeah,
Iron
you
Man.
said
Yeah.
this is Iron Man, right? And I was like, wait,
Hmm.
wait, that is Iron Man, right? And I was like, oh, I got to get this, right? I just want to, because at the time, whenever I commented to you, you responded really quickly, and not only just like a thanks for watching, which is understandable. Most people have millions and millions of subscribers where they can't be going through all the comments and just talking, right? So, but you're giving me these like very personable responses, like as if you're my friend. So
Hmm.
I was like, hey, might as well get M1's Journeyman and compare and contrast how I feel about it. And then I have something to talk to you about, right? So I bought
Yeah.
M1's Journeyman, and I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, this is a really good fragrance. And I don't know what we were talking about earlier, but Journeyman is one of my main go-tos for Amwaj at work. I really love
Hmm.
Journeyman for work. It's not bombastic, but
Yep.
it's very posh and a beautiful scent.
Hmm.
Um, and I know a lot of people, they critique it being changing into something that is mundane or something that's mediocre in the dry down or something like that. But I don't really get that. I really find it beautiful throughout. It's not very longevity wise very potent. It for
Yeah.
me. Oh, and another thing is longevity wise. I have skin that doesn't allow fragrances to be that
Absorbed.
longevity. It doesn't have a lot of longevity. So if you
Okay.
see in Fragrantica something being measured as moderate, then I know it's going to be weak on me. Or if it's something that is strong, then it's going to be moderate on me. So Journeyman has always been kind of maybe at most 4 hours. And 4 hour
Yeah.
mark is kind of like a skin scent by that time. But the first hour is a little bit projecting, is maybe about an arm's length. But that's all I need because, when I'm at work during lunch, if I'm outside, I spray one more time. I go to my car, spray like one more just to kind of as a reinforcement. And then
Hmm.
that's what it takes care of it. It's not like the 100 ml bottle is gonna disappear after a year of usage like that. It's
Yeah.
gonna last you for 3 or 4 years the way I use it. So um I'm not sure if I answered your question, whatever your question was earlier, but I guess we were talking about Nissian and then we kind of went off somewhere else. But
Oh no, that's fine, man. Yeah,
uh,
and then we started talking about Journeyman, and the
yeah,
longevity isn't the best, which it's not.
yeah,
Even for me, I'm pushing like 5, maybe 6 hours, which is a little bit disappointing coming from the house of Mwaj. But all I know is that they're newer, like the newer batches of their old stuff, they just don't perform the same. You
right,
know,
right,
if you can get your hands on like a 4-year-old batch or even older than that, then I feel like the longevity is going to be like great.
right.
Because even with like my Interlude Man bottle, I believe that's a 5-year-old. It's either a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old batch, and that thing lasts days. You know what I mean? Like even on
Mhm,
skin, it lasts 24 hours,
mhm.
easy. I know you're
Yeah,
washing it off. Like strong.
yeah.
So
For me personally, if there's a fragrance that I can't wash off, I'll be scared of it. So, if I take a shower and I wash it with soap and water, I want it gone. Um,
yeah.
because for me as well, I like to change my fragrances throughout the day. So if
Okay.
let's say I go to work that day and it depends on what I'm doing that day. If I'm training that day or if I'm doing something else that day, I wear this particular fragrance. I come out of work and I go out with my wife or do something else, then I want to change it to an evening fragrance. So to me, having something like a interlude man that lasts 12 hours on me,
Mm-hmm.
unless I'm wearing something at night that mixes well with interlude man.
Mm-hmm.
If not, if I'm wearing Blue de Chanel at night and then interlude man in the morning, that's not going to mix. So
Yeah.
I really prefer that something doesn't last too long. Of course, I want it lasting more than 3 or 4 hours,
Of
but
course.
12 hours, yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear on YouTube videos all the time they say 8 hours. They're saying that's modern and that's I guess average. I'm thinking, wow, 8 hours is great. That's
Yeah.
that's perfect. I mean, you spray
Mm-hmm.
it at 8 in the morning, and then by the time you walk to your car and come back home and it's gone, or you use a skin scent, that's the ideal situation for me. And I
Yep.
just want to kind of make a commentary on different batches and different years. That's something that a lot of fragrance channels talk about, and I agree. Like if you go into some sort of a vintage batch here or there, Amwatch Man Journey 25 or whatever, I mean Amwatch Journey Man with you were talking about Jubilation 25, right? So you have an older
Yes.
batch that smells stronger. So for me, uh, I don't I'm not really interested in older batches or something like that per se, but
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of focus on whatever is presented to me at that moment. So let's say there is a line of Amwaj let's say Creed Aventus, right? So the Creed Aventus, I go to the store. What is at the store? This is the Creed Aventus that they're going to sell me. Or if I go to Bloomingdale's, there's another Creed Aventus. So there's there's a round of Creed Aventuses that is presented to me and is available for me to buy. Now, whatever that batch is, it may be something that is from 2020, or if it's an older vintage batch, or it's a newer batch that's watered down. I have no idea because
Mhm.
I'm going into it based on a clean slate, right? So if
Okay.
I spray on myself and say, wait a minute, this is nice, it's a great fragrance, and I actually use it, it's very versatile, and I walk around the mall, and after 4 hours, it's still on me, and it's kind of vibrating off of me, and it's has enough longevity for me to consider, you know what, I want to buy a bottle. But then when I go back home, and then I start comparing and contrasting, which we all do. We buy a
Mhm.
new thing, and then we buy a new car or something like that, and then we start researching madly, voraciously, obsessed about what other people think about the purchase that I just made, right?
Yeah.
Then they start comparing it to, which for some reason, which is a weird phenomenon to me, because whenever I research something prior to buying something expensive, it's all positive reviews. And then when I buy it and I start researching it again after I bought it, and
It's
I
all
can't
negative.
return it, right? Then all these negative reviews pop up like, oh, that's so overrated. If you really wanted this, you should have at least bought that. This is cheaper, better value. I'm like, wait a minute, where were these reviews before I bought the thing, right? Creed Aventus. But
Mhm.
I changed my perspective on that because I realized when I kind of settled down and meditated upon it, I said, you know why is this affecting me, right? And I
Yep.
realized, for me, and it's usually a social media kind of thing, but the term FOMO, right? Fear
Yep.
of missing out. That
Mhm.
really, to be honest with you, me as a grown man, it should not affect me. But that's something where it's a term that's thrown around towards juveniles, right? Like college students and kids. But it affects me too. So in a way, it makes me kind of challenge, why did I buy this Creed Aventus? And then I have a tendency to try to cancel out that bad purchase. Well, it's not really a bad purchase, but let's say it's a bad purchase of a Creed Aventus
Of
by
course.
trying to get something that is from an older batch, which may be more expensive, and then buying that, and then now I have two Creed Aventuses to say to people, hey, I'm not a FOMO victim here. I got this newer batch, but don't think I'm not cultured in Creed, because look, I have a vintage Creed now, right?
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, once the video is over, at the end of the day, nobody cares, right? This is you, and it's affecting you and your family. So, unless I'm in the profession of fragrances, which I'm not, I don't go about that anymore. It's just like, if I buy something and Creed Aventus is what I have there, and it's
Mhm.
something I enjoy and I think it's worth my money, that's it. I don't even look at, I could look at it. You could say something, whatever you want, but I don't process it in that way anymore.
Okay.
So I don't know if that, I'm sorry for
No, no, you're totally 100%
ra-
fine, man.
ranting there.
No, that's
Yeah.
it's good to hear like your thoughts and your opinion on that.
But did that make sense? I don't know if I clearly articulated my opinion there, but or
No, no,
my
it
perspective there.
no, it made sense. It made sense 100%. Um, let's see here. Robe says, "Sorry, folks, gotta go. My own live stream at the top of the hour. Appreciate you both. Hey, no
Well,
problem,
I'm
Robe. Oh
happy
wait,
to. I'm very humbled that Roseoy decided to join us. So I'm just kind of one of the Mount Rushmore figures of fragrance, in my opinion. So
most definitely, man. All right, Robes. I will catch you on one of your videos, man.
I'll definitely watch his video later.
Let's see. Um, I kind of want to circle back to Zerzhov because I want to get a
Mhm.
couple, if that's okay, because I know
Oh,
you
I
really
love
enjoy the
talking
House of Zerzhov. So, what are your hmm, what are your favorites from the House of Zerzhov as far as like what you've smelled, and then maybe could you recommend a couple to
Yeah.
maybe some people
So
who are maybe are not familiar with the house?
I try to do some homework for this live stream, and also kind of come up with some recommendations for you, because I want to bring something to you, which means nothing, because I don't want you just going out there just emptying your wallet on all of this. But I really recommend the Oud stars. Okay, so here's the one thing. So one of the topics that we want to kind of, I guess, we discussed to get into was what future brands you want to look into for 2023, right? And I have some opinions about that. But for Zerjov right now, the Oud stars, I would just say I'm not into particularly any other line in Zerjov other than the Oud stars line.
Okay.
So the reason why I say that is because, as you know, like if going back to Nissian for PDM, Nissian
Mm-hmm.
is a scent that doesn't have that PDM DNA in it. So if you smell Harridan and Wajon, and okay, I'll just say Nissian is my favorite one. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but all of
Okay.
those other fragrances have that kind of encircling DNA within Parfums de Marly, and you know what that is, right? That heavy, really sweet apple pie kind of a thing, which is in Layton, which is in, you know, Carlisle, everywhere. But Nissian doesn't have that, and Nissian is very like, if you didn't know the brand name, you would be surprised that PDM made Nissian.
Okay.
And Nissian is a very authoritative kind of I don't know what the notes. I'm not really particularly good at picking out notes, but
Mm-hmm.
if you look on Fragrantica, I would think there's like, you know, um, oak moss, or I don't know. If you could look up Fragrantica, you'll see some notes in there. Okay,
Okay.
and then the scene is where if I wear a suit or if I wear a sport coat, the scent of the scene kind of portrays, well, in my mind, I don't know what other people think, but to me, I find it's a position of authority. It
Okay.
gives me that feeling of a position of responsibility, and it's a really boss kind of a scent. Really,
Okay.
I don't wear Nicene all the time, even though I love to. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
it to wear it out at the workplace and just make it my daily set at work, because that's not what Nicene is for. So
Okay.
Zerjov Oud stars in the same sense. I appreciate, or I appreciate all. Let me turn off this phone call. Uh, I appreciate all scents. You know, I appreciate Blue de Chanel, but I also
Mm-hmm.
appreciate Neo and Naxos. You know, those are fine scents as well, but I don't own
Okay.
them. I only own Oud Stars type of uh, fragrances, right? So the
Yep.
meaning behind that is because it's not something I would wear every day. I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
make any of them my daily wear, and it's a bit challenging for, I guess, the newcomer, the fresh nose person who's just starting off in fragrances. I wouldn't recommend. They would be turned off by the fragrance world if they were to dive into Oud Stars for Zerjoff. But in another sense, the Oud Stars line is actually considered entry level for
Oh,
Oud
really? Okay.
in the fragrance community. Yeah, there's a lot of snobs who are out there who are into oud and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Arabian scents or Orientals, then they look down on oud stars like, oh, that's nothing. Well, you're into Zerjoff oud stars. You consider yourself an oud expert. You're not an expert. Okay, you got to get into this, right? And they're mentioning NSAR, or I don't know, like, you know, those $1,000 ones, right, for a
Yeah.
milliliter. Okay, so oud stars kind of, in a way, on the YouTube or the social media platforms, is kind of in a dead zone, kind of. You know, you never see it mentioned by new frag com people or
Okay.
people who are in the mainstream, because
Mm-hmm.
it's not suited for them. But also, you never hear talk by the veterans as well, because they consider themselves a little bit above and beyond oud stars. So in
Okay.
that sense, it's not a place where a lot of people, if they find out about it, should I shell out some money for this? They're kind of hesitant. But for me, it's perfect. And I think that my favorite oud stars right now is
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly, is there's a fragrance called Malaysia,
Okay.
Malesia. That one I bought on a whim, but um, I bought it because there's one channel, one guy who talked about it. There are not a lot of, you know, there's a mixed reviews on Malaysia, but there's one guy. He's a young guy. I don't know what the name is. He's a black guy, and he looks really young. And he was talking about Malaysia, and he kind of represented it as being something that's very work oriented, wearable, nice scent. So I said, yeah, let me give it a try because I kind of want one of my oud stars to be like that because most of my oud stars are not a daily wear at work. So I wanted one that was
Okay.
kind of like that. It was true, and I got it. It's a very kind of a gourmandy kind of a
All
fragrance.
right.
It's very approachable. If you bought it, you would like it. It's kind of has a very unique scent to it, but
Okay.
in comparison to other Zerjoffs, is something that kind of gets lost in the shuffle because it's, I guess, for some people, in terms of projection and longevity, it's kind of average.
Okay.
But in terms of the scent,
It's
I guess
beautiful,
most
huh?
people will just kind of always be smelling something and comparing it to something. What's better than this? So there's always something better than Malaysia, right? Because
Yeah.
it's just. But for me, Malaysia is probably my favorite one right now, and
Okay.
I'm down to like half a bottle already. I use it a lot, but I wouldn't recommend that to you. I don't think you
Okay.
would buy Malaysia because it's more in the realm of like a ivory route kind of thing. It's very safe smelling, I would say.
Okay.
So, but in that sense, it's a different safe smelling scent. It's a more unique safe smelling scent. Ivory
Seth
route to
Smelling.
me at that time, when I was smelling all the other fragrances,
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was something that was amazing and unique. But now that I smelled a lot of other fragrances that are kind of oud related, um,
Yeah.
Ivory Route is not, or not oud related, but incense related. Ivory Route is not really that unique. That's why I
Okay.
don't even reach for Ivory Route that much anymore. But
Okay.
in terms of an oud star that I would recommend you
Mm-hmm.
is two. So one would be a very challenging one, just for you to get if you are up for it, if you're man enough to take on the challenge of owning it. And it may not even be sprayed by you, maybe once or twice a year, and you will keep it as a work of art that you rarely ever touch. If you don't
Okay.
mind that, then I would recommend it to you. Okay, but and then there's another one that I'll recommend that I would actually think you will like a lot.
And the
So the
first one
one
that
that is
you
very challenging
recommended,
is Gao, all right, Gay
Gal.
GAO.
Okay. I'm
That one
writing this
is
down.
very, very, even to me, it's very challenging enough where I don't even find myself uh, I'll ever reach for it even once a year, maybe once every 2 years or something like that. The scent profile for that is kind of like I can't give you. So there's a lot of saffron on that, okay? And
Okay.
I don't know what saffron smells like, but if that's what saffron smells like, it's a very bombastic scent. So I know you're in, what saffron is because I heard you
Yeah.
talk about saffron.
I
I
love
thought saffron
saffron.
was like jasmine, something that was sweet smelling, but I guess saffron is something very earthy and very challenging and very abrasive, right? So
It could be
saffron is
sweet.
heavily loaded into gout. There's some
Okay.
oud in there, but I can't detect. Okay. For one other thing is, even owning oud stars, I don't know. I'm not very knowledgeable about what the actual scent of oud is because there's so much oud out there that I can't seem to detect what is actually oud in gout or
Okay.
Zafar, the one that I'm wearing right now. I don't know what is actually oud in here. I mean, I guess there's oud in there. I mean, if you tell me that there's some Egyptian oud or Thai oud in there, I would just believe you because I don't know. I don't have any frame of reference, right? But for Gao, I would kind of give you an imagery where I would the thing that kind of pops up in my mind is like if I were to go to the Great Wall of China and I'm
Okay.
a tourist there and I'm walking down the Great Wall of China and there's like in one section of the Great Wall of China there's like a souvenir shop, right? And then when I open the door and I walk in and you hear all these chimes or something like that, and then you
Yeah.
see there's like a whole waft of this very foreign scent that comes powerfully to you and you're like,
Okay.
whoa, this I'm in a totally different place than my usual home, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what Gal. is to me. Okay, so it's like kind of like a general. If you have like a very authoritative general, 5-star general, and he's walking in the room, and all the soldiers are kind of like, you know, they're just like standing and saluting him, and then he walks by. If he smells like Gao, that's how Gao smells. That's what a general should smell like. You know, he shouldn't smell like Parfums de Marly. Okay, right? A general should not smell like Bleu de Chanel, right? That's inviting and that's very familiar. He's got to smell like something so foreign and not like out there crazy, but I'm saying something that impacts your senses, where when you grow up and you were a soldier at 18 years old and you remember this 5-star general smelling this way, and now you're 50, you're telling your grandchildren that general did so much good work for my battalion at the time, but he smelled so amazing. Like he would not, you won't even be talking about his scent. You'll be talking about his character. So the scent, in terms of retroactively talking about your imagery and what you remember, your recollections, is part of your recollections about that person in terms of his actions and in terms of his personality. You never talk about his scent. Oh, when I saw that general, or when I saw that CEO, he was wearing this watch and he was this tall and he smelled like this. I never say that. I just say this guy was like really nice. You know, he was cracking jokes, but he had a sense of power about him. But he shook all our hands. He took us out to lunch, and he even opened the door for the housekeeping lady. He's a very humble person. That kind of imagery sticks in my mind, and that smell is part of it, but it adds to my storytelling about that person.
Yeah, so it's pretty much like
if you want that kind of a fragrance just to keep, get Gal. I really recommend it. I'm not at all displeased with Gal, even though I'm not going to use it. It's one spray, maybe for the year, but that doesn't mean that, oh, you're not using it, you wasted your money on it. No, because I'm still thinking about Gal throughout the year. I'm like, when am I going to wear Gal? I love this fragrance, but I'm never going to touch it. You know, so that's one of them. The other one that I'll recommend to you just to buy as a challenging wearable scent would be Alexandria 2 or Alexandria Oriental. So Alexandria Oriental is, I guess, a little similar to Alexandria 2, but I know you had a little decant of it when I sent it to you.
Yeah, that one smells great.
I think that's full bottle worthy.
Oh yeah, for sure. 100%
it's not for everybody,
agree.
but it is a good one to keep just for like a once a week reach or twice a month reach. It's a special scent, not a daily wearer, but also gives you a lot of credibility in terms of being a YouTuber, I guess, if you have Alexandria too. So,
man, Alexandria too, just like when I was smelling it from the from the bottle.
I cannot hear you for some reason now.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Are we disconnecting?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't hear you.
All right, let me work with my settings real quick. Audio.
Sorry, bro, I can't hear you.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Give me 1 second. Do this.
Maybe I should leave and then try to go back in. Should I do that? Maybe you could nod or shake your head or something like that. I don't know if you could hear. Okay. I'm gonna leave and I'll try to get back in using the same link.
So
okay.
Oh, so we lost him. I don't know what was going on. I think something happened with the live, but it's all good. Okay, he's back.
Oh yeah. Okay, I could hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, actually, I can hear you much louder now.
Can you? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. I was using my external mic here, so I just
Mhm.
unplugged it, and something probably went wrong with that. So it's all
Okay.
good. All right. So you were talking about we were talking about Alexandria too,
Yes.
and how that would be like you wear it a couple times a year, and then Gao. Um, Gao actually sounds really interesting.
Yeah, Gao's the one that I would recommend if you're up to the challenge of owning something that you'll wear only once or twice a year.
Oh,
Alexandria 2 is something I would recommend for you to buy just to have that you could reach for and wear out on the weekend. It'll be a regular wear, not daily, but it is a good quality fragrance to own. If there's any Zerjoff to own
hmm
and you only need one bottle, or you can only get one bottle, I would highly recommend the Alexandria 2 Alexandria Oriental.
okay,
I think that would be the best representation for what Zerjoff can provide for you.
okay. Awesome. And
Yeah,
so Gao and you said number two or Oriental. So those are your two recommendations, at
right.
least for the house of Zherzhov.
Yeah.
Um,
Again, Gao, don't you're not going to use it. Again, you're
are you
only going to
sure?
use it once a year. Okay.
Are you sure about that? Because man, look,
Yeah.
I will
It's
use
it
what?
it's challenging and not versatile. I cannot see any kind of situation where I will be using it unless I was some sort of a five-star general. That's the only time I can. Yeah. Or if you're going to be, let's say you're going to be let's say you're a father of a daughter, okay, and a daughter is going to bring a prospective candidate for marriage. Let's say she's dating somebody, or she's or going to try to be engaged to a guy, and she's been already talking about and she's really into um, just fluffing up. She really sees her father in a high regard. And so
Okay.
she's always talking about her father to this guy. The guy's rolling his eyes like, who is this? This father, is he's like some kind of a legend or something like that, right? And then
Mhm.
we're gonna go meet him this weekend. And then the guy's like nervous, like, whoa, what should I wear? What should I say? And then the before they go to the house, the daughter's like, make sure when you're at the table, don't put your elbows on the table, and
Yeah.
make sure you stand up whenever you see my dad, and then sit back down. And then the guy's like, whoa, who is this guy? Why am I supposed to do all this? Like, he's thinking this thing. Like,
Mhm.
he's really kind of like the reputation of the father-in-law precedes him, and then you're the father-in-law, like, coming out. You don't want to be wearing blue de Chanel, right? If you want to present a very strong, uh, like a authoritative presence in this guy's eyes, you're gonna have to spray one or two gal, and then the guy's just gonna be like sitting next to you. I mean, I'm not saying that you want to give that kind of impression to anybody. I'm sure if you and I were a father-in-law, we'll be the nicest guys. But
Yeah.
that's the kind of situation I would wear gal in.
Okay. So I actually have I have a comment here. I have two comments. Just go through these really quick. Jason, he said, "What's up, Locke? I'm at work right now. Came by to say what's up. I think he's gone, but what's up, Jason?" And then Nebu, he also says, he said, "I'm noticing that when I post a comment, there's a blue wrench next to my name. That's because and then this also goes for you too, Brian.
Mhm.
I made you guys channel moderators.
Uh,
So I'm sure you know what that means. Pretty much you
okay.
can kind of go through there and, I mean, if there's like a bad comment or something, you can remove it or you can edit things within the comment section of the videos that I have. Since I talk to you guys so much, I know you guys are great people. So I know you wouldn't be doing no foul things on the channel like this. That's why I made you guys moderators. I didn't tell you. I just, you know what I mean? But anyway, let's get back on topic here. And then I guess ask you like one more question, and then I guess we'll wrap up since we
Okay.
want to keep it within an hour.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or
is
I
it
mean, it's up to you. Really up to you. I mean, if it goes longer, I'm not. I don't have anywhere to go right now. No,
Okay.
yeah, but it's if you whatever you feel. If you think we should wrap up, I just totally up to you. So
Okay. So I guess hmm. Oh, this is the question I want to ask you. So, uh, so when you were saying, because you were talking about a lot of the fragrances I wear, you don't wear them all the time, and there's
yeah,
some fragrances that you don't really like a lot of projection and longevity because you like to change fragrances a lot throughout the day because you want to wear multiples of or just different scents throughout the day. So I want to ask you, what is like your signature scent as far as what fragrance do you normally lean toward and reach for more often than others? And then if there was a fragrance that you could just choose to wear pretty much every day as your signature scent, um, regardless if it's work, leisure, play, or whatever,
okay,
which one fragrance would you just automatically go for?
okay. Great question. So there's three categories. Or okay, so I'll just try to go quickly through these. So the first one is most recently, I would think last year, around the end of last year through October, Journeyman was my go-to office scent. I mean, I would wear that just like 3 days out of five to work, sometimes 4 days out of five. And I have a whole set of fragrances at my desk at that one job that I was at. So people already knew that I was some sort of a fragrance obsession, some person like that. I had upset Journeyman as one of the bottles, and I just kind of kept reaching for that one because the other choices were like there was Tom Ford, um,
Or-
yeah, Beau de Jour there. I never reached for that because it's just I know it's something that is very, very popular. For some reason, to me, it's not something that is very interesting. I
Okay.
have it because I bought it because you have it, everybody has it. Might be something that I would appreciate having. I do appreciate having it. Just I just never reach for it. But Journeyman has that. I would say that's my go-to. So
Okay.
even today, when I spray, I don't spray Journeyman that much this year, but if I spray it, it totally reminds me of last year. It's like, whoa, it gives me that 2022 vibe.
Yeah.
So that's that. Right now, I would say because as you know, I'm kind of still in the process of working, so I haven't really gotten where I start work next week. I was
Okay.
supposed to start work the beginning of this month, but they
Push
kept postponing. Yeah, they kept pushing it back, and we had that discussion where we were trying to nail down a live stream. But I also have a part-time job, so I also work at night and on the weekends sometimes. And this is something that's been ongoing for the past year or past 2 years, where I'm a piano teacher as well. So
Oh,
I
okay.
teach kids. Yeah, so I have to wear something that is acceptable when I'm going into somebody's house, right? So usually it's a family, it's a parent there, and the child is usually from age 5 to maybe around 17 or 18. So in
Mm,
that range, I'm going to be sitting close to them. I'm going to be kind of walking around them. I don't want to be wafting something very challenging. So in that sense, I use Blue de Chanel a lot at night.
okay.
Blue de Chanel, whether I spray one or spray 10, it doesn't affect anybody. And they just know, hey, this guy smells very clean. He's very sharp. He's very presentable. I would welcome this person into my home. He's not dirty. He's not dirty fingernails or anything like that.
Hmm.
He's got nothing sticking between his teeth. Where I wear a mask whenever I go to their homes, but if I smell like Blue de Chanel, so I wear a lot of Blue de Chanel as my go-to as a piano teacher.
Yeah.
Um, it's just a blind reach. And
Okay.
then also if I were going out with my wife or meeting the family, so a lot of my outings is usually with family, just my in-laws or my parents. My parents less often because they live very far away from me, but my in-laws and my in-law family set is very close to me, so we do meet each other a lot, and I have a few nephews. So I would say Blue de Chanel or Mont Blanc Explorer, and right
Okay.
now, Hachiba, which I recently got, and you got, you didn't get Hachiba, you got Salt and Better, and you
Mm-hmm.
got B52.
Yep.
So I mean, B, B whatever,
612.
yeah. Which I'm kind of intrigued as well. When I watch your video, I'm surprised that I can tell by your facial expressions when you like something, and then or when you're trying to force yourself to like it, because I could tell you're taping yourself on the first. That's why I like the first impressions because
Yeah.
you never smelled it before, and we can whatever you're saying, we can see your expression. You know, an
Mm,
AI can get the analysis of your face and say this guy doesn't like this fragrance. You know,
yeah.
so we have that sense too. We can kind of get the pattern recognition as I don't think Dr. Goo really likes this, but he's just saying something nice to just try to say something nice about the fragrance. That's how I feel about Ivory Rod. Okay, you can't change my mind about that for Ivory
Yeah.
Rod. Okay, so
I mean,
I know
you
you
know,
like it.
I mean, like Ivory
I know
Run.
you like it. You've already explained your position about Ivory Rod. I get it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Man, there was something else too.
luckily you and I got it for a really good price at that time. So
Yeah, it was
uh,
a steal. It was a steal. Just looking at the price now, you're like, I don't know if I'd pay that price for it.
yeah, yeah. In retrospect, it's now we know why it's that cheap, right?
Yeah. Now, I also want to ask you about Hashivat.
Yeah.
Um, as far as now, have you done? Because I mean, a lot of I've never smelled Hashivat. Okay,
Hmm.
so the comparisons, especially with the creators on YouTube or the fragrance people that make videos on YouTube, they always compare it to like Creed Aventus,
Sure.
or it's like some sort of pineapple musk type of deal. Like, what do you feel? As is that true? And so that's the first question, and then the second question is like, is it warm? Is it warm-ish there in California, or is it still kind of on the warm during the day but cold at night type of deal? To where would Hashivat be a good? Is it like for the summer? Pretty much. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
Okay. So right now so I live in Southern California and
Okay.
I live in South OC. So Orange County, it's a little bit of a coastal county here
Okay.
in the Southern California area. So our winter starts a little bit late. So
Okay.
November, December can still be a little bit warm. Sometimes I've seen where December is just a hot day. You have several hot days in December, and then people will be like, "Well, it's like summer." It's like when does it ever turn winter here? But winter
Mhm.
does kick in around, if it does, maybe mid-December through, I would say about mid-March through mid-April. Okay. And we get a lot of rain in the March, April kind of, that's what I see. I've been here for the past 12, 13 years, actually past 20 years. So I would say it's really cold now. Right now, if I go outside, today is kind of a milder day. The last few days it's been raining, but it's a milder in terms of the weather. But I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend or next week it gets to like 55 or 60 degrees outside. Would have to put a coat on, but a lot of people here are still into like just wearing your shorts and t-shirt. I mean,
Yeah.
there are a lot of people like that, but I like to kind of dress for the occasion. So if it's a little bit cold, I put on a sweater or a jacket or something like that. But in terms of Hachifat, Hachifat is similar to it is similar to Creed Aventus. Now,
Hmm.
I'm not particularly keen on Creed Aventus. Hello.
Oh, I'm still here. I'm
Oh,
still
you're
here.
still there. Okay, I thought
Yeah.
you walked.
No, I thought I'd give you the
Yeah.
spotlight. You
All right,
talking?
cool. Okay, so um, yeah, it's kind of freaking me out now because I see myself blown up, and I'm just kind of okay. So Hachifat is so Creed Aventus is something that I'm not very keen on. It's not one of my favorite scents because, as you know, I prefer things that are more challenging. I guess something of in terms of uh, oud starts, right? Zerjo.
Okay.
But Creed Aventus, hey, I do have the tendency to be affected by FOMO a little bit. I do want to own something that is of a Creed Aventus ballpark area. So I do have a Bleu de Chanel, which I enjoy. I love Bleu de Chanel. It's a great tool. It's a tool fragrance for me. It's
Okay.
something I reach for in terms of if I'm going to put on a belt, if I'm going to put on a shoe, and if I'm going to put on a jacket and go teach somebody or go meet family, Bleu de Chanel has to be part of my arsenal. Okay. I'm not going to put Gao on myself. So
Yeah.
right? So I did want to get something that is, hey, if I'm going to run out of Bleu de Chanel, I don't want to keep buying Bleu de Chanel again. Might as well buy something that is kind of like a Creed Aventus because it is different profile than Bleu de Chanel, right?
Hmm.
I do have a Renaissance, Xerjoff Renaissance, which is a very nice. Um, that's another thing, another one I could recommend you if you're looking for a nice office fragrance, or even working at a mechanic shop. I think Renaissance is very. The thing about Renaissance is that it has a very astringent profile to it. Is there's a sharp note in there, and I think it's petitgrain or something like that. It's very astringent. And at first, I didn't. It was kind of off-putting to me a little bit, but then I kind of realized it adds to my personality a little bit in how you dress or how you go about your work. Um, I
Mm-hmm.
love I love Renaissance. So Renaissance is one of them. I want something that is similar in that kind of a profile. So I got bought Hachabot because I thought Hachabot is they say it's a Ventus, similar to a Ventus. Not that
Yeah.
I wanted to get a Ventus. I just thought, okay, Hachabot is cheap. It's I mean, not cheap, but relatively cheap.
Cheaper than cheaper
It's not
than
400, yeah, $400 for 3.4 ounce bottle. So you,
yeah.
I mean, $100, okay, you could get maybe not $100, but a little over $100 you could get if you look good enough. You'll find a Hachabot. And and another thing is, I love presentation on a bottle. The presentation goes a long way with me. If something
Okay.
smells mediocre, but the presentation, the bottle, and the artwork and everything, the box and everything is done so well,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that affects my enjoyment of that fragrance at times. I would still enjoy it even though it comes across mediocre in scent. Psychologically, the presentation kind of goes with me throughout the day, knowing I'm wearing that is presented this way. Yeah, that's part of marketing, and they did a good job in swaying me to buy this and enjoying this fragrance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Hachibot, it doesn't smell exactly like Creed Aventus. I don't detect the pineapple in it. I don't detect like they say birch is in Creed Aventus. I don't even know what birch smells like, but I guess there's that woody aspect in Creed Aventus. It's not really, I guess, not detectable for me. To my unprofessional nose, I don't detect the birch or pineapple note in Hachiba. All I detect is there's a brightness in the beginning that is similar to Creed Aventus. It dries down to something very different. I would say it dries down to something very musty, kind of like a wet rag kind of a scent.
Okay.
It's not for everyone. I think a lot of people would be kind of put off by it. So if your subscriber were to buy Hachivat in thinking that they're getting a replacement to Creative Ventus, they're going to be disappointed.
Okay.
I wouldn't buy Hachibat for that. Hachibat has very good projection. It has very good longevity, but that that dry down, that heart is the predominant theme, which is the wet rag note. To me, that's the thing, wet rag. So I
So
don't know if it's my skin or the way I wear it, because again, I spray it on the back of my head, and that's the aura I get. I don't spray something on my arm and sniff throughout my day like this, because to me, when you smell something this close, you
yeah.
get different facets. Like if you look at a TV screen, you see green, red, blue pixels. But if you
Yeah.
kind of go back, you see a picture, right? So
Yeah.
this is not what I usually do. I spray on the back of my head, and whatever the aura I get, that's what
Yeah.
I pick up, and that's how I judge a fragrance. Not this way.
Okay.
So Hachivat has a very wet rag smell this way, but when you spray it here, I get kind of a damp, a little bit of a damp, but not forest, but there is that kind of a damp outside environment feel to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So that's the only way I get to explain it. Would I buy knowing that at the time Hachibat again? I would
yeah.
say it's a 50-50. I think I would have probably gotten it. Yeah. I think it's worthwhile getting it for that price. I don't think for the full price that they actually sell it for, like at a Bloomingdale's, I wouldn't buy it. But
Okay. Yeah.
if you get it at a good discount, and also for like a person who collects fragrances, Hachiba should be one of your references, I think, in terms of the Aventus kind of a ballpark arena.
Yeah. Okay. I think. Well, do you have any questions for me before we wrap this up?
So for you, I would kind of, because I'm always watching your videos. What are you expecting to be testing out or looking to explore for the next few months or 2023?
As,
Anything?
as far as like just houses or different types of
Mhm.
fragrances that I want. I want to really well, okay, so one of my subscribers, Shiva Vareen, he sent me a brick of he sent me a brick of like samples and stuff. So I'm going through those. I'm still going through yours. And then Nebu, I'm still going through his. So a lot of those fragrances that I actually wanted to try are in all of those samples. As far as like specific houses, of course, the Zerzovs. I do want to get my nose into more of the Orto Perezis,
Corporation.
more of the Nasamatos, um, more of the what's that? Olivia de Grazi house. I think I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong, but just more of like because like the way I like more of like the old school vintage
Yeah.
style kind of fougères and greens and mosses and oak moss and just labdanums and the spices and the ouds and the smokies and the animalics and stuff like that. So I kind of, I can't really give you a very specific, fragrance or fragrance house, but I'm kind of delving into more of like the niche and the indie realm types of stuff that doesn't really get talked about a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that for this upcoming year, yes, most definitely. It's gonna start getting hot out here in Vegas, so
Oh yeah.
once it hits that 110-degree mark, I mean, it's
Yeah.
my testing ability with a lot of these more animalic, smoky and stuff. It's gonna be limited because I work in a shop. It's hot.
Right. Right.
The AC don't work that well. So it's like, I don't want to blow my coworkers out of the shop with
Yeah.
whatever I'm saying. So, uh, yeah, as far as that goes, yeah. Um, and
Nice.
did I ask you that question too, or do you want to answer that question as well?
Well, well, for me, I guess I've kind of calmed down in my I guess right now I'm kind of in the phase of just if I'm at the mall and I'm at the different locales where they have a good set of niche fragrances, I'm just gonna go and test and stuff for um, smell and just casually smell. But I'm not in any mode of looking into explore anything right now. I think I
Okay,
kind of done
reaching.
my due with Zerjoff, and I'm just settling down. Just I need to kind of relax a little bit and just settle down, um, and just go about maybe 2023. Hopefully, for me, my view of it is just to try to get back to a little bit of a more minimalistic life.
Yeah.
We are trying to make a car purchase this year, so we're trying to make some um, make some financial decisions to make that happen and so forth. And so
Okay.
I'm kind of doing. I would love to get back to the game a little bit more at a future date, and then dive into something else. Um, one house I'm really interested right now in is Bortnikov. I asked Robes oh wait last time. I said, hey, have you smelled any Bortnikov? And he's like, he's gonna start smelling some samples that he received. So Bortnikov is, if you want to get into the oud genre, and
Yeah.
they say Zerjov is nothing compared to Bortnikov, and I guess there's another brand that's competing with Bortnikov is a Riche Lador or something like that,
Hmm.
which is a little bit more pricey end compared to Bortnikov. Bortnikov is already pricey as is, and that's like one of the things that one of the ones I'm really interested in is Lao Oud. There's a Lao Oud, and I've several times put it in my cart, and it's one of those things that's sitting in my cart, and every once in a
Yeah.
while I check my email. There's like, do you want to buy this? It's still sitting there, and like I'm just trying to brush off the devil on my shoulder, and it's just been sitting there. So that's one of the ones I'm aspiring to maybe getting sometime in the future when things are a little better, in
Okay.
terms of my outlook, in terms of financial outlook, because right now I'm still haven't worked. So
Yeah.
Maybe I'll ask you what's in your cart and what's your next prospective possible purchase you foresee. I know you last one you bought was a B612 or the
Yeah,
Nishane, but
yeah, B612. That was kind of one. I had found it at a really good deal, so I couldn't pass that up. The next one, man, I want, and the funny thing is, because I had asked about Hashivat, it's probably gonna be Hashivat, to be
really
honest. Yeah, it's probably
interesting.
gonna be Hashivat or what's that other one called? It's another kind of summertime deal.
From Nishane or
Uh, I don't think it's from the house of Nishani. I believe it's from the house of it'd be probably Megamare from the house of Otto Perezi. But
oh yeah.
not anytime soon. You know what I mean? I
Okay.
kind of limit myself to like one fragrance a month.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I can afford it, if I can't, then of course I'll save. I also do landscaping on the side, so that's
Gotcha.
what start up here in the summer. So that'll give me a little bit more like leeway into kind of what I can kind of what I mean.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I'm kind of full right now as far as like fragrances, and I'm not
Yeah.
really like you were saying. I'm not really buying anything
Yeah.
really. I'm selling a lot of my fragrances, a lot of the fragrances that I know I will not wear, or just the cheap ones that
Mhm.
were kind of rack store buys, just $20 here,
Yeah.
$30 here, $50 there. I mean, it adds up over time. And if you can, I can try to consolidate all of that and just sell it off in a bundle or something like that. That will
Yeah.
relieve some of those ones, because I think I was replying to you. Is like it's quality over quantity, honestly.
True.
And then
Definitely.
everything else, I'd rather have a 10 mil of or a 5 mil
Yeah.
of, or
Yeah.
just something that I know that, if, of course,
Yeah.
if I'm not really reaching for it often or a lot, or I know I'm not really going to be wearing it a lot, I'd rather just have a 10 mil of it, so.
Yeah, the Megamara, I'll be hopefully if you get it, I'm really looking forward to your take on Megamari. I hear a lot of crazy reviews on that one, so it's
Hmm.
supposed to be some sort of an oceanic type of fragrance that just has some weird notes in it that kind of it may put off some off put it may be off putting for some people, which
Yeah.
is kind of strange because most aquatic scents are safe, you
Yes.
know, in America. So having an aquatic that's off-putting,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
It's funny because that's one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to it. That just like piques my interest, because we have this place here in Vegas. It's called Sequest, and
Okay.
it's in a mall on the east side, really bad area of town. But I mean, the mall is, you go in there and Sequest, and you can smell Sequest from the time you enter the mall, right?
Hmm.
I mean, it literally smells like the ocean. Okay. And so like, so when I was watching reviews on Mega Mare, or just, you know, hearing other people's opinions on Mega Mare, how they say it starts off really beautiful and like the ocean, and then it goes to like this cold Atlantic, deep kind of, ambergris type of weird smell. I'm really intrigued by that, because that's
Yeah.
probably what the actual ocean smells like, down deep underneath, a couple feet below the surface, where the light don't touch it no more. It's complete darkness.
Kind of like
Yeah,
algae and seaweed and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So,
I know
but
Bulgari has one of them like that. I think Bulgari is there's one of the Bulgari mans that has that is focused on seaweed notes or salt notes or something like that.
is it the square shaped bottle, or is it the circular bottle?
There is a circular one. I think it's
It's a
golden
Bulgari Aquamarine.
or something like that. Yeah, I know one
Yeah,
of them is focused on that marine note. That's
that's
kind of a seaweed or
It's
algae.
it's Bulgari Aquamarine. That's one of my
Okay.
all-time favorite summertime fragrances, probably all
Oh,
time.
really?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean it does smell like it does smell like salt in the ocean. It doesn't go that far to where, like,
Yeah.
I mean, the
Right.
seaweed note is more, it is more prominent, I feel like, in marine, rather than the original Aqua by Bulgari, the one in the green bottle. But marine, I feel like, is more, it's a little bit more safe. It is a little bit more versatile in a sense to where you have the algae, you have the
Mhm.
saltiness, you have it. You know, it does remind you of like a blue ocean. You know, like on the
Mhm.
coast, like where you're at in California.
Yeah.
Um, but it also has like this clean, soapy vibe to it that really smells great.
Yeah.
And especially when it's 120 degrees outside and you're just sweating like a dog. When you sweat in the sun, the evaporation stuff, you start to perspirate. I mean, that stuff just explodes. It smells so great. It really
That,
does.
yeah. Well, hopefully Mega Mario can do something like that for you.
I
Yeah.
hope so. And you know, a lot of people were saying you only need 1, 2 sprays. That's it. You do a little bit. You do 3 sprays, you're gonna choke yourself out, and others
Yeah.
around you. So
But I know you like doing 10 sprays, so
you know, that's fine. We'll talk about. We could talk about the sprays.
okay.
You know, I'm the type of person to where like since I work in a shop, you know, and I get dirty a lot, I'm constantly washing my hands, I'm constantly sweating, getting grease and dirt on me. So it's like I don't want to smell the dirt or the grease or the
Right.
chemicals at work, you know what I mean? I'd rather smell the fragrance that I have on. That's why I spray so much. That's the only reason why that and the only I will only spray that much when I go to work because, you know, like I have my own bay. I don't work with kids. I work
Mhm.
with old men, you know, or older men, of course. They don't care, you know, they ask me questions all the time. So I'm not worried really about offending anybody in that aspect. But when I do go out, like if I'm going out to the cinema or to the movies or just like somewhere where people do have sensitive noses, I will still wear challenging fragrances. I just won't do as many sprays. I'll probably do 2 sprays. You know what I mean? That way I can enjoy it, but they don't have to smell it. You know what I'm saying? So
Gotcha.
so yeah, man. I think we'll wrap up, man. I think we'll
Yeah,
wrap up.
it's an hour and a half, so I mean, I didn't know
Yeah.
it's gonna be this long. But I actually, you know what? To be honest with you, I could go on maybe another couple of hours talking about stuff, but I don't. I mean, just let you know. But
Oh,
I
okay.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
No, no problem. And you know what? Next time you'll have another episode, man. We'll continuously do these live
Okay.
streams as long as you know you'd want to do them. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
totally down because
I'm
this
down.
live stream went really well. We had a lot of great. You talked a lot about the questions and stuff like that. And it was really nice. It was really nice.
Thank you.
So I am going to do I'm going to do the closing, and then you can
Okay.
just stay for just a second, and
Sure.
after I end the broadcast, I'll just got to talk to you for just like couple minutes, and then I'll let
All
you
right.
go.
All right. Okay.
All right,
Well,
so
thanks for having me. Yeah, I
yeah,
appreciate
no
it.
problem,
Have a nice
Brian.
day.
Okay, you're still gonna be here,
Oh
but I'm
yeah, I'll
gonna
be here. I'll wait for you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining the live. It was awesome to hear your thoughts on these questions, and we just talked, you know, and thank you everybody for stopping by. Thank you, Robes08, Nebu, uh, Invincible Grant, Ultimate, Stacks, and anybody else who joined but didn't comment. We will be doing another one of these, probably in a couple weeks or a month or whenever our schedules can realign again. But yeah, thanks, Brian. And for everybody else, I'll catch you guys later. All right, peace. So.